A guy like Mic Foley couldn't draw. He just couldn't. And that's not a knock on him, he just wasn't much of a sketch artist type guy. His gift was always in his writing. I mean, Mike would write a lot of his own promos, and you could tell he knew how to really get into his character's head. When he was telling a story from the boiler room, you knew you were going to get some real character backstory there. He wasn't a guy who came out to the ring every night and sorta cut the same promo about them maybe being the best or toughest. Mike knew that if he added a few more layers to the story, he could easily get a lot of attention from the crowd for being something a little bit different, you know. My dad Stu used to say half of the story in the ring is told outside the ring, which is just an old school shooter's way of saying you have to get people to care about the match before it happens. And Mike was different in a lot of ways. I'd spent a lot of my life on the road with Owen and Davey, and sometimes it was nice to change who you hung around with. Of course, you'd have to be a bit selective out there. If you spent the day with a Sid, you knew it was going to be stressful. Sid would always be blowing up at things he maybe thought were insults. I know one time in the drive-thru he got told to pull over to the side because his order was going to take a bit of time. Sid began to really freak out. He pulled the car over, got out and started shouting. He was storming around his car, shouting about how this was a slap in the face, spit flying out of his mouth as he pointed at the other cars in the drive-thru, slamming his fists into the hood of his car. I remember having to calm him down and let him know this happens depending on the item you order. That sort of experience could really be pretty stressful, and so you'd want to avoid that if you could, you know. That's why I enjoyed hanging with Mike. He was never stressed out about the small stuff. He was always willing to make things work in the ring or outside of it. Mike felt it was really important to always make the other guy look good. On more than one occasion we'd pull into a hotel and they would only have a double bed and a cot. Mike was always willing to sleep on the cot. Or you'd be in a walking past a bellboy pushing a luggage cart, and Mike would always act like the cart hit him, then throw himself over some nearby furniture, or across a table with the continental breakfast. He'd sort of stumble up and you'd ask if he was okay and Mike would say he's fine, but he wanted to make the young talent look strong, which was something I always respected. I never had to worry about working with Mike. He was willing to take the bump for the both of us. I always felt safe.